Tonight, former President Trump bowing to pressure from conservatives, calling on him to oppose a ballot measure to overturn the 6-week abortion ban in his home state of Florida.
So I'll be voting no.
It comes after NBC's Dasha Burns pressed him Thursday, and he didn't give a clear answer.
How are you going to vote on that?
Well, I think the 6 week is too short. It has to be more time. I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks.
His campaign later tried to walk that back.
I think all the president is saying is that he thinks that there should be more than 6 weeks.
That caused a firestorm with anti-abortion advocates.
It was discouraging and disappointing to hear the president really use talking points from really the abortion lobby.
There are also mounting questions about Mr. Trump's new proposal regarding fertility treatments.
For people that are using IVF, which is fertilization, the government is going to pay for it, or we're going to get or mandate your insurance company to pay for it.
The Trump campaign is not providing details about how the pricey procedures would be paid for. An NBC News estimate puts the total cost at around $8 billion a year. All this as Harris, in her first extensive interview since President Biden dropped out of the race, defended some of her policy reversals since she last ran for the White House in 2019.
My values have not changed.
On immigration, she once raised her hand when asked whether the border should be decriminalized and said this about unauthorized crossings.
I would not make it a crime punishable by jail. It should be a civil enforcement issue, but not a criminal enforcement issue.
Now,
do you still believe that? I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally.
The Harris campaign is planning a battleground blitz this upcoming Labor Day, including a rare joint event with President Biden. Tom?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.